I wanted to call you about the trouble.
Trouble?
Charlie and Otto.
I wouldn't call it trouble.
How are the children?
The children are fabulous.
Stuart sounds so grown up on the telephone.
He is grown up. He's going to that tennis camp this summer. It's incredible how his self-image improved. Director really knows what tennis is all about. 3 hours on the court and then an hour of constructive criticism.
And Bobby and Linda?
Bobby's going through a little phase of kleptomania. Linda's marvelous. She certainly knows who she is.
I really feel terrible about the breakup, Ruth.
Oh, I always thought there was something odd about their dependency on each other.
Odd?
They're big boys now. Mustn't keep them babies. It castrates men.
Can we have lunch?
I don't eat lunch anymore. I'm on a diet.
Well, I'll call you then. What did she say? Did she say go away? It doesn't matter. I'm just curious.
Cornmeal on top, clams on the bottom. When they come up for it, they clean the sand from their craws. Did you say hello to Leon?
I didn't know he was here.
He's probably lying down upstairs. I think his wife's driving him into the ground.
Is he married again?
Last spring. Some dull graduate student who's convinced she's a creature of lust. That's what he tells me, anyhow. Gin and whiskey?
Gin.
He tells me a great deal more than I want to hear about that side of things. Like I was his char lady instead of his first bride.
Why don't you tell him to just keep it to himself?
That'd hurt his feelings. He says she fooled him by writing a good thesis on Henry James. Some cockeyed angle on his relationship with his brother. He always was a brain lover. She's dippy. She waits for him behind the door every night, stark naked. Calls herself his beast. He hates to go home. Vermouth tonic or what?
Tonic.
You look elegant. How are you?
Fine. Not so fine.
Look at those shoes. Made by some European slave for a lira, right? What multitudes we all recline on. I thought my vanity would subside by the time I was 40, but it's worse. That's why I dress this way. Better a middle-class frump than an aging go-go girl. You know, there used to be a tribe in Africa that flung women who were 40 over a cliff. How's Otto?
Charlie's leaving the firm.
Why?
They weren't getting along.
Frankly, I don't see how Otto stood him this long.
Oh, you only met Charlie once.
All that good liberal stuff spread out so impeccably.
No holy fools enter paradise. I knocked over a box full of horrible little instruments like bugs on your dresser. I started to pick them up, but was overwhelmed by the dust. Don't you ever clean up around here?
Come down and see Sophie.
I can see her from here.
Come down anyway. When Leon and I were married, centuries ago, we went to lots of meetings that turned into parties. I sat at Leon's feet and listened to the men talk. Oh, how they talked. All that civilized babble. And the only thing I could remember are their wives, especially the older ones, waiting like pensioners for a personal word or two.
You hated intellectuals because they made you feel like a Gentile poop.
Intellectuals? Those dilettantes, fops?
Don't talk like that. They were serious people.
I'm sorry.
You never did pay attention to me.
You're wrong. I always paid attention. I just didn't listen.
Why didn't you ever marry again?
I didn't feel like it.
Ah, the truth at last. Behind all that frantic energy I found so admirable is nothing but sloth. It takes energy to live with someone else. I should be home reading a grim MA thesis by a teacher who wants to advance herself and hates the subject which she chose.
Don't let me keep you.
Why do you dress that way? Mother garbage. You should have seen her in the old days, Margaret.
Sophie.
Sophie. What a beauty. And moved like lightning. Fixed leaking toilet tanks and electric plugs. Painted walls like a pro.
Chemtone. I painted everything with it. Time to reheat the potage.
You couldn't cook then. We lived on canned macaroni, bacon, whatever I could steal from my mother. What has become of us all?
Age.
And so many already dead. No one wants to talk about age, do they? Humiliations of the bowels. My own body has turned against me. Refill?